All right, y'all, we back. We back for another one. We here to put our ski mask on and approach the market just like how we did on yesterday. How y'all feeling this morning? I'm feeling pretty good, man. I am ready to get the day started. So let's go ahead and hop right into it, man. I'm really anxious to get the day started and be able to see what we have going on the charts this morning. So I have a question. What's your bias on today? Like, what's your initial bias on today? Are you bullish? Are you bearish? You know, what's your initial bias? And what are you looking to trade? What are you looking to trade? Me, I'm thinking about trading ES again this morning. But look at the move down after yesterday. Long accumulation. Here, let's go up to the intraday chart. We already have our key levels marked out, but we're going to review yesterday. 1 second while we get everything shared. But yes, we're going to review yesterday and we're going to take a look at our key levels on today and what we have going on. So if you are trading with me, you already know what I like. You should already know, and you should already know kind of what, have an idea of what we're looking for too as well. All right, so let's get our live shared. All right. All right, so we have our live shared this morning. We're ready. Oh, and another thing I have to do as well before we start. Get all of this. Come in here. Oh man. Okay, so it looks like we're gonna have to do one at a time. That's fine. I'll just do one at a time then, and have them pinned. So here we go. First thing, what we're gonna do is this here. All right, and we can rock with that for a minute. All right, so as we look at today and what we have going on here, man. So we're trading down into this 15-minute discount zone here. And overall, what I've been looking at is this here. So when we take a look at yesterday, what did we do yesterday? Yesterday, we swept previous day high on yesterday, and we basically shorted where we left this liquidity here. And we took a short yesterday all the way down to what? Sell side, right? Beautiful price action. Uh, Everything was good within that. But then we consolidated for the rest of the day. And then, as you could see during Asia session last night, look at the market. It's just been continuing to go down. So what am I looking for on today? Maybe I'm bullish today. And the reason why I say I might be bullish today, maybe longs come in today, right? Technically we still could be bearish overall. We go up and we take a look at it from the 4 hour. This is what I want you to pay attention to based upon the 4 hour, right? We trade into this zone here on the 4 hour, and we left this gap here, obviously off the four. But look at how once the market had full displacement here at around 10 o'clock last night, had full displacement here and left this fair value gap. Look at here. Look at the reaction. So possibly we could be looking for longs here, retracing back to 50% of this fair value gap here. That's an idea, right? When you look at it on the 1 hour, possibly giving us some form of a V-shaped recovery, right? And then we take a look at it on the 15-minute. When we take a look at it on the 15-minute, you can see we're traded down into this discount zone. So it's interesting to see how the market reacts during the open. So let's take a look at MNQ. And you can see the same with MNQ, right? MNQ is trading lower, obviously. I mean, it was just the other day when we were at 30,975.50 for a new high of a 52-week range, right? That felt like yesterday. Now we're pulling back and we're down in 29,714. And if you just take an overall look, like let's just take an overall look of MNQ. And we'll remove everything and just take an overall view of MNQ. See where we created a new all-time highs up here, but we're trading away from all-time highs and we're trending and we're heading lower, right? So it's interesting to see how today pans out. Um, we could look at ES the same exact way. Let's look at SPX, right? Looking at SPX and how that is overall. Here we'll remove this here, and let's just see where we could go. Like you know, And this is just on the hour chart. So what I'm looking for on SPX, let's see about the 4 hour. On SPX, it still have room to be able to go lower, in my opinion, from here. And we could definitely be seeing the 7200s very fairly soon on SPX overall. But I want you guys to share with me what your take is. Like, what is your take on today? What is it that you're seeing? What is it that you have, in mind as far as the trading day is concerned? You see that big move, what happened and what took place on last night, which makes me feel as though we're going to stall a little bit on today. And then maybe it takes us a little bit longer to be able to get that move of what we're looking for on today. That's the feel that is giving me right now, currently. But while we're sitting here, how many of you all took a look at the video of what we did on yesterday or joined me on yesterday when we talked about not my 401k? When we talked about not my 401k, right? We had a lot of, I would say, a lot of good information as it pertains to the 401k, not my 401k, right? What we learned, and this is what was good of what we learned. This is what we learned. We learned that they are going to be using your 401k. I don't care what you may think or what you may feel or how you may feel about that, but Larry Fink literally came out and said, "Yeah, we're going to be using your 401k, uh, and it's going to be tied towards infrastructure building." Think about that. They need their data centers built, and who's the perfect candidate? Oh yeah, of course, those with 401ks, perfect candidates. So, with that being said, right, looking at SPX on a 5 minute chart, I just want you to be careful. Those of you who do have a job, man, like I've been telling people, hey, go to them and talk to them about your 401k. Where's that money being tied to? Where is it being invested into? Therefore, you have a general idea as to what their plan is and what they're doing. Look at gold on the pullback. Y'all remember when we were taking a look at gold? Let's go up here to the 4 hour on gold. Well, we could just go to the daily overall. Get a reset. But you see what's happening with gold so far. Obviously, it's been trending down. This is the weekly right here. We're on the daily, but we're looking at the weekly candles. That's right here. And so for gold, gold is still continuing down to come back to this strong level of support here on this trend line. This is a very important trend line here of what we have. And if this continues, you can see a 4,074 gold. 4,074 on gold. You can see that. That's going to be happening really soon. Really soon. really soon. So I would be careful, those of you who are in gold, and those of you who are looking for positions, right? Same thing with silver. Like, look at silver. Ever since Kevin Warsh came, silver gave you that idea of it was going to pump, and now it just failed completely, coming back below, uh, trading below the golden zone. And once you crack below there, look at it cracking below this trend line. Once you start closing candles there, see how it's just hanging here at support? Once you start closing candles there, though, it's going to be ugly. So for precious metals, it's not looking too good. Not looking too good for gold and for silver. We see Bitcoin was at I got an alert that Bitcoin was at 61,000 this morning at its lowest. It just completely fell out of the channel, right? So if we go to it on the 4 hour, look at that. Now you're in that retesting stage where it retests, it broke, retested, and then it failed on the retest, and now it's trending lower. Interesting, oddly enough, right? Let's take a look at oil. We have about 10 minutes until the market starts, but we're taking a look at oil. We see what happened with oil. You could fairly say the same thing as well. Once it lost this level of support here outside of this channel, what happened? You got a break, retest, and went down lower. So that's what's going on with oil. And what makes me feel as though like I'm not, so I'm looking at this on the 4 hour, right? And we saw the move what happened in indices. We saw what happened and what took place in indices. And it's making me feel as though it has decoupled itself from indices. Usually when oil is short, NQ is long, ES the same way, it drags a little bit. But in this case here, with the bearishness that resides, and you see no move to the upside, which will have indices falling, it seems as if it decoupled itself and everything now is taking a hit. Everything now is taking a hit. Let's take a look at MYM. Man, YM looks at, when I look at it on a 4 hour chart, I'm like, man, I wouldn't mind trading YM. Look at this gap here. It's a new week opening gap. Hmm. So it's interesting on what we're gonna see on today. Like I tell you all, my plans are to see if we could get some level of a retrace, some form of a retrace, right? Obviously, if we continue to trade lower, then we'll just set some levels if we begin to trade lower. What do you all think? Do you think we're going to be trading lower on any of these whatsoever? Like as far as the day is concerned, like our first level is this Our second level is here, and our third level, as we get this going, is here. Yeah, I don't know. This is going to be interesting. This is exactly what I'm looking at. So you can see the three levels it is that we have marked out here, here, and here. If we continue to trade lower, then obviously this will be our first level of where we go to, and we could possibly sweep liquidity here. So here's a possible move of what could happen, right? And this is what I'm thinking. This could be somewhat possible. But I do want you to form your own bias. But for me, this is what I feel and what I see. Maybe we trade lower here. Let me put it on this side. From where we are, maybe we trade lower, sweep this level of liquidity here, and be able to go back long here to buy side. And we would want to get in on the position after the retrace, right? After it sweeps liquidity, that's where we will want to take a position. I mean, that's what I think. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know honestly. So all we could do right now is just be patient to see. Obviously, we've had a changing in character here. So if you go from previous week low, which is here, right? Going to previous week low, which is there. We broke through previous day low, which gave us a change of character. And it seems as though, we are starting to trade lower. We go to the 15-minute, start trading lower, and get this sweep of liquidity that's here at about 73.66. So it's going to be interesting. Today is going to be an interesting day in the markets. But what we're going to do is we're going to exercise a level of patience. We're going to exercise a strong level of patience. So what do you see with this purple shade here? This is a gap on the 4 hour, right? And once we start trading back higher, and we could see ourselves getting confirmation to be able to enter into the trade, then we'll enter into a trade once our setup comes. So we're just going to be patient. We're going to be patient, very patient. Let me see. I want to look at something real quick on MNQ. Because MNQ being where it is it a continuation? Like, do we get continuation? And this is how we're going to track that. I want to see. It's interesting to see how this is going to play itself out. It's interesting to see. So we have 2 minutes prior to market open. We're going to go back to ES. And we're on a 5-minute chart. Okay. 2 minutes before market open. We have a good idea as to what we're looking for, right? So we have a plan in place for both ways. We have a plan. We have about 20 seconds, 10 seconds, 20 seconds until the market opens. 10 seconds until the market opens. So let's just see. But I do want us to be patient though. I don't want uh I don't okay, market open. I don't want us to jump the gun on anything at all, period. We do want to exercise a level of patience. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna be patient. So you can see us sweeping past this 15-minute discount zone, trading lower. So what did we say that our next level was if we were to trade lower through this? Was at 73.66. 73.66. Let's see if we could go ahead and connect. 73.66. All right, so we're gonna try to get logged in here so we could be ready to trade. Boom. All right, we're ready to go. I just don't want us jumping the gun as of yet. That's the main thing here. Exercising patience. I'm sorry. Exercising patience and not jumping the gun. Look at the move on that pullback. Pulling right back into that 15-minute discount. Here's the key. We don't want to be first on anything on anything, right? But that's a strong pull. You got minor sell side. We just got to be patient to see how this thing plays itself out. You got minor sell side here though. Right here. But nothing, our model hasn't presented itself yet. It's heavy rejection right here. See this accumulation here? You got heavy rejection happening right here. Interested in seeing how this continues to play itself out. But from what I do know, we do not want to engage just yet. So while we're sitting here waiting, I couldn't believe silver slipped the way that it did. I really honestly had silver trading higher, but that was just me. So we're just gonna be patient, wait for our model to set up, be calm, not don't be too anxious, right? I had to get some calm music going so I could just be calm today. Don't want to be too anxious, overly excited. But I think we're gonna get a winning trade on today. How do you all feel? I told you, did I not say earlier that it's going to feel as though the market is going to be moving very slow after these big moves of what happened on yesterday with us trading down lower, and it's probably going to take later in the morning for us to be able to get a real good setup with how we want. The market only been open for 5 minutes now. So we're just around this discount zone, this 15-minute discount zone, and we're just hanging around right here for a second. We may have an opportunity to be able to hit into a short scalp for the shorts right here, but see there, it's nothing that's worth taking yet, in my opinion. I think we want to see a manipulated move, and then our move happens and take place. So today is definitely one of those days where we're just going to have to exercise patience and allow the charts to play itself out. So I'm calm on today, feeling pretty good. I do want to share with you all. I know I was sharing this on yesterday and I was telling everybody about this, that this book right here, I don't know how many of you read, but this book right here by Ron Blue, it's called Storm Shelter: Protecting Your Personal Finances, How to Thrive in Uncertain Economic Times. This book right here is definitely a really good read, and it can help you strategize and game plan towards the things it is that you want to do within your finances, and helping put everything into position, right? Especially if you have a family, right? And you are wanting to make sure you know that things are in place for your family, for hard times. Things are in place for certain situations and matters that happen at hand. You have to be very strategic in with how you store your wealth and how you accumulate to as well, right? So here's some of the good things in this book that I want to talk about real quick while we're just waiting for the market to do its thing. It talks about fears, desires, and long range dreams. It says our fears, desires, and dreams are often entirely valid, yet the emotional punch they pack need not be a knockout blow. In this chapter, you will learn to admit to and identify the specific concerns that threaten your personal financial security. Moreover, you will gain a perspective on your financial future that will become the foundation for your ultimate money management program. What are we as traders? Hey, I might, if we can get filled here. Mm, mm. Hold on. We don't necessarily have to gauge too early. But this book, like I was saying, it gives you an opportunity to be prepared, to learn how to get prepared in times, in hard economic times, right? And it's very important that you do so for your family and for your loved ones, making sure that you have those things in order as far as your finances are concerned. Um, so let's see. I think I want to take a long here, y'all. But we don't risk too much. Yeah, we missed it. that we may get in here. Let's see. Not yet, not yet, not yet, not yet, not yet. We do have equal highs here though. See that there? Still not sure though if this move is what we want, right? Give us 1 second. Pretty much focused here, y'all. That would have been nice for us to take. But again, what is it that we're waiting for? There's no reason for us to have any type of FOMO here because our setup is pretty much of what we see. This is where we could exercise some patience here, but you already know what I'm looking for, right? When I see something like this, what is it that I'm looking for, chat? See this, this, this. That's what I'm looking for. The question is, do the market deliver? That's the question here. It's almost it's like yesterday. So what we're gonna be looking for is rejection blocks possibly uh to be happening within this area. Look at how many times yesterday we rejected, right? So we just want to pay attention to see if we get any type of rejections here. It's not even 10 o'clock yet, so it's still no reason to jump the gun as of yet. No reason, but we wanted this retracement, right? We wanted it, want the market to breathe a little bit from this move. And like we said earlier this morning, for those of you who don't understand what our model is and our strategy with how we trade here, this is what we were looking for on this morning, right? You get the initial move up, and we come trading back down. Obviously, once we break a key level here, That will be our entry, and boom, that's what we want. So we're loving the market moving and taking off right now. Obviously, this would have been a nice trade to be a part of, but we get no FOMO here. So it traded back into this fair value gap that's here. And if you go to a higher time frame, look, we're now on a 15-minute time frame. And as you can see, we traded back into this fair value gap here. Let's see if we invert this fully. And if so, we may have a continuation and we could catch IO Fed entry to be able to get into the trade. So let's see what we get. We do have minor sell side that's here. So that's going to be important to keep an eye on. Let's go ahead and mark that. We could get filled here and take this to buy side. In my opinion, that's still a possibility. That's still a possibility. That'll be our first initial trade for today if we could catch a fill here. Let's see if Dr. Phil wants to fill us on today. Mm, no, we're not going to engage. Not yet. Let's take a look at NQ while we're waiting. It's going to be interesting to see how it plays itself out. 29,900. I'm going to be looking for some retracement to be happening and taking place there. If it blow past that, then it's going to be definitely key. Look at ES, man. That would have been beautiful. So let's see how this plays itself out, right? We can be patient here. So what we looking for, this could be possibly our Manipulated move for today. It's not even 10 o'clock yet. That's why we're not so anxious. Give it some more time to see. But it did invert this fair value gap of what we have here. And we're entering back into the one of what we have on the 4 hour. So this purple shade of what you see of what I have is a clear zone of what we had on the 4 hour that did not get touched at all. So if we were to invert this on the 4 hour, hold on, put that back here, minor sell side. Okay. So if you look at it on the 4 hour, right? Here we remove some of these. All right. So if you look at it on the 4 hour, this is that purple shade of what we have here. And we're trading back up into this gap here on the 4 hour. So if we're patient enough and we invert this, you can see a reversal happening at 50% of this FVG of what we have here. So that's kind of what I'm looking for. That's why I'm not in such a big hurry. And if we could catch that 50% round here, we could be able to look for short spur downtrend continuation. So it's just a matter of being patient, seeing what setup we can get on today. This is why I'm in no hurry. I don't want you all to be in a hurry either. There's no reason to full port any accounts. We're at the area of rejection. What you see here, right here within the top of this FVG, market is pulling itself back. So because we have buy side and we haven't taken out buy side yet, it still gives me a reason to think that that possibility still exists for that to happen. And this could be an IO Fed entry back to midnight open. And you can see we have buy side that is sitting right here at 75.50. So that's my whole reasoning on why I want to be patient and we may catch an IO Fed. But then again, we have sell side too as well that we haven't taken out. And that leaves me a little bit concerned. Just a little bit. That's what made things like 50-50, 50-50 within your bias, right? You be 50-50 within your bias. So you have to allow the market to move. And as the market is moving, then you will be able to capitulate between the two of which one you're going to be taking. That's why you want to have a plan. Just like we had a plan on yesterday. Like yesterday, our initial plan was to go what? Long, right? We wanted longs on yesterday. But instead of getting longs on yesterday, what do we end up getting? Shorts. So although we missed our first initial trade, right? And we were in profit. We just held back. And once we saw the displacement of our key level, what did we do? We entered into the short and took it all the way to sell side. Do we come here and take out buy side? The only reason why I would look for us to take out buy side is if we crack above midnight open. We haven't cracked above midnight open to even give me any type of long bias. So this for me just feels like a retrace, right? Get a trace some breathing room, and then we start trending back down. So let's see if we sweep previous week low and take it all the way back to 50% of our 4 hour FVG. And that may be our entry for short. So we just be patient. Patience is everything. But you can see when we drop to our lower time frame, what did we talk about on yesterday? We look for three initial moves to happen and take place prior to us engaging into the markets. And once those three initial moves, those of you who do know it, these three initial moves, once they do happen, that's when we engage. Well, the first two have to happen before we engage, right? So right now, the second one is playing itself out. We just have to be patient enough to be able to see the third move play itself out, and that's where we would take our entry. The old version of me would have definitely been into this trade already, but the more advanced you become, you start to understand the bigger moves at hand. And sometimes you miss out on opportunities, right? And it's cool if we do miss out on this opportunity, then hey, we walk away from the charts and we come back the next day without having to risk any capital whatsoever because we have FOMO. You don't want to risk any capital when you have FOMO, when you see the markets running, oh, let me jump into the trade. Da, 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 da. No, you don't have to jump into the trade. You don't want to risk any capital. You want to be patient. And if your model presents itself the way that you see it, that's when you take the trade. I'm still bearish. So we're sweeping previous week low here. Strong bullish candle. Very strong bullish candle. Hmm. So what would be the next target after sweeping previous week low? The next target after sweeping previous week low, what do you think it will be? Do anyone have an idea of what you think it will be? Nobody knows? What did we say? Let's go to the 4 hour. What have we been harping on? We've been harping on the fact of what we want to be at 50% constant current encroachment of this FEG on the 4 hour chart, right? So once that do happen, that's a manipulated move. That's a manipulated move. Do we have a draw all the way to liquidity above previous month high? Not today. This can't happen yet until this happens here. We got to figure out what's going to be going on here with volume imbalances of what we have here. We have to figure this part out first. Once we figure this part out through the manipulation, the manipulative moves of what happened and take place here, look at that liquidity of what it came to sweep after yesterday's pullback, right? You have this wick here, and this was that strong push down last night, 10 o'clock, all the way to our 15-minute discount zone. And now you're getting a relief rally, right? Back to, in my opinion, 50% consequent encroachment of this FVG here. So let's be patient and see if we can get there and we can take a trade that's inverted off of this 4 hour, which to me should give us a bigger move of distribution down to this level of what we have that's marked out here at 73.66. So it would look something like this. Taking out initial sell side that we have that's down here, right? And obviously your stop will be somewhere right above here. We go. So it'll look something like this. This is what we're looking for on today. So it's just a matter of being patient and waiting for the move to happen. Now, if we were to crack above midnight open, once we crack above midnight open and we catch a retrace, then that's when I will set my initial bias will flip, right? I'll flip my initial bias and we will target what? If we break 50% consequent encroachment of this and we catch a retracement, it'll look like this. Targeting what? Buy side into this fair value gap, looking to take liquidity that's there. That will be our second bias. But that's if we were to crack midnight open. Right now we haven't cracked midnight open, so I'm still bullish. I mean bearish. And we haven't reached 50% consequent encroachment of this fair value gap. These are things that are very important. This is why these levels of what we have are very important. No other level is important than this. Miss Oni, how you doing? I see you in the chat. How you doing, Miss Oni? You missed yesterday. You missed yesterday. Yesterday was a very beautiful day yesterday. You got to go back and watch the video. I'm going to send it to you. I'm going to post the link in the chat so you could go and catch yesterday's. I'm finna post it now. Yesterday was crazy. There you go. That was yesterday. And what's good, I did it as a highlight, so therefore you don't have to watch the entire stream, but it's like 30 minutes. And within that 30 minutes, uh you will see what happened yesterday and why the levels of what it is of what I'm talking about are very, very, very important to us when we trade. I literally walked us through it. So we're having a little bit of a rejection here around previous week low. But this would have been good to take, man, to midnight open, at least close to midnight open. Shh, I'm not even going to lie. It took off. So let's be patient. We'll be patient while this is taking off. But yeah, so I don't know how many times you've been since then, but yesterday what we talked about was and I'm not sure how many people have 401ks, but I was talking about 401ks on yesterday and I was saying that your 401k, they're now using private sector, they're targeting private sector capital to be able to build infrastructure. So that means that they will, if you're not in charge of your 401k and people are, well, you're allowing the company to be able to dictate and determine, what they put you in, what stocks they put you in. That's kind of how they're going to be taking your capital without you knowing, just like SpaceX, right? When they built, when they IPO'd on SpaceX, they've been using private sector capital for a company that's not profitable. We found out SpaceX was nowhere near profitable. Hey, this might be a reversal of what we have here based on this candle closure, but we have about 3 minutes to this candle closure, so we'll see. So what we learned with SpaceX yesterday, I'm gonna go to it real quick. And I was trying to explain to people how companies like this, although it was the biggest IPO in history, right? All that hoopla they sold us on, they did 18 billion last year. 18 billion. Obviously, where they are on TTM, they're trailing 12 months, they're at 19 billion, right? So far, so they have made a billion, right? But they made 18 billion last year. So when you go down to see if they are a profitable company based upon basic EPS, last year it was 0.51. Just recently it was at 0.72. That means they're still not profitable. So where are they gaining this capital from? And so when I played the video of Larry Fink on yesterday, Larry Fink was literally saying that, hey, look at what is here. This is this is how Tesla's set up to release their IPO shares out, right? And this is where they're going to be taking profits. It's going to get real ugly. So they have dates of releases and dates of when they're going to sell. So that kind of puts you in a position to be able to see what's going to happen. But look at this. I asked I asked this question on yesterday. I said when Larry Fink discusses the private sector, when it comes to infrastructure gaining the most capital, is that including my 401k private sector capital? Right? And it says, yes, absolutely. When BlackRock CEO Larry Fink talks about unleashing private sector capital to build global infrastructure, your 401k, along with millions of others, is exactly what he has his eyes on. He's the biggest asset manager in the world, not just the United States, the world. There's no company bigger than BlackRock or hold as many assets as BlackRock. So they're going to be targeting private sector capital in order to be able to build new infrastructure, these data centers, AI centers, and all of that, they're going to be using private sector capital. So people's savings, their pensions, things of that sort is what's going to be used. And you saying, well, Jeremy, how is that going to be? When people just go to jobs and they are offered 401ks, but yet they don't go and sit down with them and discuss throughout its entirety of, hey, what are you going to be putting into my 401k? Can I make a choice and a decision of what stock it is that I want to choose to invest in without, allowing you to manually just do it yourself? That's those people. And so they'll easily put your money in and taint the stock, taking your capital and building out their infrastructure. I want to allocate all my own retirement into stocks. I don't feel like I'm financially educated enough to which companies to invest in. Oh, no problem. See, that's where we could do. So with that, it would have you would have to switch your mindset from, right, like day trading aspect, because you have good stocks that are just good for day trades, right? But then you have also stocks that are good for long-term investing, things that, you know, don't go nowhere. Here's a great example of one. Here's a great example, and a lot of people don't even know about this one. Here's a company called Procter and Gamble. Now, this company is literally right. It's down south, from where my hometown is. Me being originally from Thomasville, Georgia, 319 South. So this company here is called Procter and Gamble, and as you can see, they very trendy, right? And it just consolidates, but they grow over time. So with Procter and Gamble, this is where you get your look. Let's put it in chat. I don't even want you to take my word for it. Look, your Tide, your bleach, your Pampers, Bounty wipes, all of the stuff of what's household items comes from Procter and Gamble. A lot of people don't know that. So stuff that's going to be used consistently, that's within your household, stuff that's used in everybody else household of what they use consistently, what not that's not news is not going to stop people from buying Bounty towels, right? So if you were to buy Tesla stock, people who put their money in Tesla, right, and not treating Tesla as a trading asset, but a long-term investment asset, why is that? Because news can affect Tesla to where Tesla starts tanking out of control. There's nothing that you could do about it, right? If Elon missed sales and don't sell a certain amount of cars, right? It starts tanking and you're losing your wealth versus putting it in a true store of value of a company that's like Procter and Gamble, who make all household items, that is consistently going to always make you money. And when you have this within your portfolio, because you'll set it up within a portfolio aspect, this is a company that you don't have to worry about too much, because when we take a look at it on the charts, right, it's steady, consolidates, it's steady, it holds its value. Look at it over the year. Look at that. This is what you call a uptrend. You see that? It's a company that is steady growing, consistency. And we like companies that are like this when we look for long-term investments, a store of value. Yeah, that's my gem for today. But there's so many others that are good stores of value that a lot of people don't know about because they think about the Max 7 too much. They think about Meta, they think about Facebook, they think about, I'm sorry, Meta is Facebook, but they think about Google, Tesla. They think about these companies, and just this little small man who don't get talked about at all, period, is the one where all of the big dogs are storing their wealth. So look at this sweep of previous week low, and we're coming and approaching what 50% of this 4 hour fair value gap. And what did we say? We wanted to see if we could start looking for a short once we enter into this 50% concentrated encroachment zone of this FVG here. And once we do get that, if we start reversing here, we'll be looking for our model to set up to be able to short. If we invert this fully, then we'll just sit out for the for until PM session. There will be no reason to engage into the markets. It's already 10:20. We haven't gotten silver bullet yet at all. Can I show a good ETF? Absolutely. Absolutely. So let's see that we might have an entry here. Look at how we inverted on that fair value gap. And we may have a reversal candle here. So let's see. Let's see what we have here. I want to go ahead and be greedy enough to just enter in.
Order filled.
If this trade plays itself out, we'll add more to our position. So for a good ETF, right? So for a good ETF, there's some key things that we want to take a look at when we look for ETFs, right? One of those things that we would want to be taking a look at is how much of what do they hold within the company? I mean, within the ETF, right? So when I was showing Baron first, I'm gonna add to my position here, y'all. I think I'm gonna add one more contract.
Order filled.
All right, so 1 second while we take on this trade here. What we're looking for, I want to decide. I'm trying to decide. Hmm, trying to see something here. 'Cause I feel like we probably entered too early. But we'll see. But a good ETF. So when we were looking at when we were looking at Baron, right? So let's just go to Baron real quick. So we was looking at Baron first, right? This was one that I told people if they wanted to have some exposure into SpaceX, right? But you didn't want to buy SpaceX fully, Baron First Principle was the ETF. And the reason why for that is because they hold 14% within uh, Tesla, and that is their biggest holder, right? So their biggest holder is Tesla. But for us who just want some level of consistency, here's Vanguard Core Bond. And this is just where you get consistency more so than anything. And you can feel protected within this, within Vanguard for sure. And another one is SCHW, Charles Schwab Corporation. I would look into this one too as well, for sure. This is where you just get nothing but consistency, right? So when you go out and you take a look at it on the week, what do you see? Continued growth. Continued growth. Look at there. Boom. Just continued growth. So those would be my two for you. Vanguard and Charles Schwab. Vanguard is VCRB, ticker symbol VCRB. Charles Schwab is ticker symbol SCHW. You're welcome, no problem. So, as the trade is playing itself out for us so far, here's where we are. So, we're going to exercise some patience here to see how this thing plays itself out. I don't, right now, initially, from what we talked about, there's our stop here. I want to take this bad boy all the way back to this order block here of what we have. But I don't think I'm going to get that today. I really don't think I'm going to get the full entire move on today because this move was so big. I don't know. We'll wait and see. We'll wait and see. I think I'm gonna just play this with cutting risk. I'm gonna cut risk today and see. possibly just taking what the market gives me. I won't force anything at all, period. Not with a day like today. Not with a day like today. So it's just a matter of exercising some patience here to see what we get. Take a look at it on the 4 hour to see how we responded off of that. And you see what I mean when I said we could use that as an entry. Look at the response off of the 4 hour once we entered into 50% constant encroachment of this fair value gap here. It come and it touches at 50%, right? And you could see the reverse back down. That's why I was saying, hey, I don't want to engage and catch FOMO, although it was been beautiful for me to take longs there, but I just don't want to catch FOMO as of yet unless we invert this fully on this fair value gap. And if we don't invert this fully on this fair value gap, then I might be primed for shorts. But who knows, right? It's just a strategy of what we use, and we're just going to see if it plays itself out. We're reacting off the 4 hour reversal. Okay, so that's the reason for that. Reacting off of the 4 hour reversal, 50% consequent encroachment. That's why we have this perfect shaded area. And that's why we have our key levels that are marked out and that stands that are important to us based upon that. Because there's no reason for us to do things like play support and resistance and things of that sort. Because what did the market do? It broke through resistant key areas, right? So there was no reason to be able to play that. The smart way to play it is by understanding the story that the market is telling, the opportunities that the market will give you once once that manipulation move happens. And that's where I told you we're focused on what? Three things. Those of you who trade with me, there's three things we're always going to be looking for. We look for this, that, and then we get that. That's what we want. And if you know what that is called, please drop it in the chat. Let me see who's been studying. If you know what that's called, drop it in the chat. You're gonna know what it's called if you tune in to yesterday's banger and watch yesterday's trade too as well. You'll know exactly what that call is. All right, so we're getting close to taking a partial here. So we're gonna be taking a partial right about here, and we're just gonna leave a runner because I'm not like once we react off of this gap here, I'm not so sure how far the pullback is, right? Into that pullback zone. But initially, I know that I'm in position to be able to go ahead and drop to a lower time frame. I could go ahead and cut risk, right? And just make this into a free trade on my stop loss. Now that I'm in a free trade on my stop loss, if it closed me out, hey, I could close out in profits. But we want to go ahead and lock in some profits. So if we break below this level of previous week low, which we're not, that should have been a profit taking zone. So we missed that just a little bit. Just a little bit. If we break below previous week low, we'll take off some contracts. But as of right now, all right, you're not gonna stop me out. I'm gonna go ahead and give you a chance to breathe. But look at that reaction off a previous week low, right? Buyer stepped in strong there. If we crack this though, I'm not liking this reaction. Seems like it's gonna be one of those days. Yeah, but if we break previous week low, then we could look to be able to take a partial there, and we come out and just leave a runner for the rest of the entirety of the trade. Therefore, we locked in profits, and whatever else we make is icing on the cake. So, do anybody know why I moved my stop from where I had it, right? I literally had my stop at 50% of this initial bullish candle, right? So, if you know why I moved my stop, I was like, hold on, let me get the trade some room to breathe, right? Because it needs room to breathe. And we haven't taken our first initial TP yet. I'm sorry. We haven't taken our first initial TP yet. So, once we take our first initial TP, then we can go to break even. But we're already at break even now, so there's no reason to change from that. Let's see if we could get a little bit of a push down some more. There we go. That's what we like to see. Now we could get ready to take off on our positions here. We just need candle closure below previous week low. I would hope we get candle closure below previous week low. Now we want to consolidate around previous week low. Shh. Okay. Terrible reaction. Terrible reaction. Where are the sellers when you need them? Looks much more cleaner on the 1 hour, right? Look like we're in this bullish trend. But I love how we just pulled back off the reaction of this FEG right here. That's the only reason why we took this trade, because we knew that was coming. Like, once you know something is coming that's supposed to happen, we knew that was supposed to happen. Therefore, that's why we jumped into it. But we need the reactions of what it is of what we want to take place, and sometimes those things take a little bit longer. It is 10:38 though, so we're still within that time frame of being able to get the trade that we're looking for it to play out the way that we want it. We're still within that time frame. That's why I said the times of the day are important too as well. Once you understand the times of the day and how they're in correlations with the market, You'll be able to easily find entry points, easily be able to plug yourself in to be able to make capital. All right, so here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking about cutting risk here and taking some profits. We're getting a nice continuance move below previous week low. And what did we say we wanted to do? We need a candle closure though under previous week low before we take capital, right? We're gonna do so here.
Order filled.
All right, so we took off on our position and we left a runner here. So let's just let this runner do his thing. We're gonna turn this down to 1. And we're just gonna let this trade play itself out, right? So we're gonna go ahead and bring ourselves to break even. Well, we'll put ourselves in profit and we'll allow our runner to continue to do his thing. And we locked in some profits for today. So we locked in $247 thus far. And so we're just gonna allow the rest of the trade to play itself out to see. So that's W in the chat right there. That's a W in the chat. That's how you trade that off of a 4-hour consequent encroachment of a fair value gap. That's a banger. And we doing it live in a live market, people. Anybody could do trading on replays, right? But when you have an opportunity to be in a live market, how do you fare within a live market? And can you walk us through specifically key levels and reasonings as to why you take your positions and your entry points? Our entry point was beautiful. It doesn't get any sweeter than what our entry points be. When you go back and look at our trade on yesterday, look at our entry point from yesterday's trade, right? This is today's trade. Look at yesterday. Let's go to yesterday's trade. Look at the entry point from yesterday. Boom, all the way down to sell side. Come on. You couldn't beat that. And then what we're getting today, entry point. Boom, right off of the reaction of 4-hour fair value gap. Can't beat that. All right, let's go ahead and start locking in a little bit more here. Right here at previous week low is probably where we're going to chill. That'll be our chilling point. If it takes us out of the trade, hey, it takes us out of the trade. But we're going to chill right here.
Stop filled.
And that's exactly what it took us out of the trade. So, and it took us out right here, previous week high. So that's our trade for today, people. That's our short. So I appreciate it. I appreciate you all tuning in. I appreciate you all trading with me. Hopefully you were able to learn something on today, right? You were able to learn something on today, and you were able to see how to get sniper entries. It's all about sniper entries, man. If you could get sniper entries, that's how you go and you put that ski mask on and you could go and literally rob the market, right? It's a printing money machine. So once you know how to use this money machine, you're gonna always have access to capital. Always, 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 always. Oh, before we leave, so look, check this out. Check this out. I have to show this to you all first. I have to show this to you all first. Not that one. Here we go. So remember I was telling y'all here, okay, last week's book, right, that I gave to you was fire, right? Last week. This week book is by Run Blue. Run Blue, Storm Shelter, Protecting Your Personal Finances. How, look, how to thrive in uncertain economic times. What times are we in? Uncertain economic times. So being able to get a idea as to where, oh man, we should have literally, y'all, we should have held this on that short. Oh well, oh well. Trade is done. But we're in economic times, uncertain economic times right here with a lot of things happening and taking place within the market, right? So when you have an idea and an understanding as to what is actually happening, what is actually taking place, and you can swallow it and say, okay, there's nothing that I can control within this point, right? Kevin Chenault taught us in our last book to control what we can control, right? He is the CEO, black CEO of American Express. During his reign at American Express for over 17 years, he was the CEO there, and he was managing over 20 billion that he was managing. Okay, so when he says control what you can control, the only thing you can control is your performance and the way you show up every day. That's what we have to do, and that's how we have to apply it to our like in real life. We can only control what we can control. We can't control everything within the economy, but we know where we can spend our money. We know how to be able to save our money. So what this book shows you is how to do a financial physical. You know, like how you go and take a bodily physical, right, for to check your health. You could go and do a financial physical on your own finances, and then you can start putting the things in place specifically of what you need without being all over the place trying to make it happen. Because there's a lot of things that we want to do, right? And that we know we need to do, but we have to have a strategic plan in order to be able to do it, right? And we know that it's going to take some time in order to be able to do it. So, whatever your plan may be, this book helps you. It helps you understand everything fully, the time that you're in, right? Because these times are historical. Like they don't every time is not the same, right? There's certain things that happen within this particular time that didn't happen within the last downfall, right? Like during 2008 housing crash, financial crash, when we had that happen, it's not the same of the crisis of what took place that was small within 2020 with COVID, right? People would consider that a crisis, but it wasn't the same as 2008. From 2008, it took us all the way to probably about 2015, 2014 to recover. From 2008, we saw that on the charts when we looked at that a couple of weeks ago or a couple of days ago, last week. So it's the same thing in this time frame here. This is different because there are a lot of executive orders being signed and changed to be able to change things. So with that book, I did try to find a link for that book, the PDF version of it. There is no PDF version of it at all, period, right? So I tried to find that PDF version. So for the actual book itself, if you wanted to make the purchase, I think is on Amazon. I could send it to you uh for that as well. And then I could do the same thing for this one. I could find a PDF for it, right? And I'll be able to send you the PDF. And I have your email, so I'll be able to send it directly to your email um for this one. But I did look up the one of what we had on last week, and that was this book here. Take a lesson. Today's Black Achievers on How They Made It and What They Learned Along the Way by Carolyn V. Clark. I could not find uh that was last week. Oh, I think you're talking about the book that we would do it in our meeting. That's the book. Hold on one second. I couldn't find I looked for that book too, and I couldn't find that book either. I couldn't find that book either. Because I was looking. That's what I was going to do. I was trying to send all of them, I was trying to plug them into a PDF and send all of them in a PDF, so there could be just, you could click on them, had a whole PDF version right there of the book. But with that last book on the personal finances book, let me see. I gotta find it. Here we go. By Brooke Stevens, Talking Dollars and Making Sense. I could not find this on a PDF at all. Could not. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna send a link to all of these, right? And if I find a PDF version to Run Blues, I'll send you Run Blues. And but for Take a Lesson and for Talking Dollars and Making Sense, I'll send you those versions um through Amazon on your to your email. So I'll do that immediately once I log off of here. I'll go ahead and do that and send that to you right send that right over to you. So you don't have to wait no more for those. Awesome. So I appreciate you. If there's anything else that you will need, you know, you already have access to be able to hit me up. So hit me up, let me know, and you already know I'll be there to do whatever it is that I can. Our last video, for sure, please take a look at that. That's another training video that you could be able to use, uh, because I walked through those steps of what my strategy is specifically while we're in the trade and what it was that I was looking for while being in that trade. So that one is going to help you out just like how this one is too as well. So I'm gonna highlight this one as well and have this one in our highlight playlist. And it'll be able to go over everything of what we look for specifically when we took the short on this trade and took profits on this trade too as well. So thank you for your time. Thank you for spending that time with me, right? Because I know trading is difficult, man. Trading is hard. It's not easy. If it's easy, everybody will do it. And doing it in a live market is a whole different ball game. So I want you to be really, 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 really good once you do get ready to approach the market. So thank you, and I got you. Alrighty, I appreciate you too. You have a wonderful evening.